All right, we're back for the next part of the lecture. We're going to go into the final project, a little more detail on the final project. I think it's about a 4-minute video, so nothing real long. Go ahead and make notes. And as always, please post any questions in the chat box or write them down so you don't forget them so we can discuss them. Believe me, anything you ask, let's say 99.9% of the items that are asked, or some other student has that same question or something around that question, or it may be a question that you have that spurs another question of another student on a different direction. So please don't hesitate to ask questions. That's what I'm here for, to get it lined out. I know that there's limited information on assignment pages and such, but please ask the questions and try to get as much detail during these lecture and lab times as you can. All right. I guess I should have asked, can anybody hear me out there? I'm talking to myself. Okay. James McGinn, thank you. Both Jameses. All right. Thanks so much. All right. I'll go ahead and play this, and we'll come back, and then we'll watch the other video on what is ahead for the week. As soon as I can figure out what's going on here. All right. All right, this will be for DFTG 2427 landscape drafting. We're going to be talking about the final project on this video. Just a little introduction to the final project. Again, in class we'll get more details into that, but I just want to introduce you to it through this video. I just wanted to check. Can you guys hear that okay? Is everything all right on your end before it goes on? Yeah, right now. I stopped it for a second. Okay, everything is good when I was playing it. Spotty, all right. You can hear it but don't see it. All right, is anybody else having that problem? You're able to hear it but couldn't see it? Iman says hers was good on both. Larry says a little spotty. James McGinn says can't hear it but don't see it. I did stop it just right now. I just wanted to check, make sure everything was okay. A little spotty. Is it like breaking up on the two Jameses? Is it like breaking up, or what's the deal on it? Is it the audio or the video, or both breaking up? All right, this will be for DFTG 2427 landscape drafting, and we're going to be talking about the final project on this video. Just a little introduction to the final project. Again, in class we'll get more details into that, but I just want to introduce you to it through this video. All right, the first thing we want to look at is the criteria for this final project. We're going to look at the criteria that I've attached in packet 3. We'll go again over this in more detail on next week, probably on Monday. All right, so this is due December 16th by 12:30 p.m. So you already have a target date and time for submission. Again, as usual, this will be for 6. This will be for 6 sheets total, and the usual submission will be by a one DWG file and with 6 sheets as one PDF. All right, so we'll have 6 sheets. The first one will be a cover sheet. There is some information about cover sheet, 2-point perspective. So you might be thinking along those lines. There's some examples in your textbook at page 186 and some other examples within your textbook on how to develop that or what it should look like. Sheet number 2 will be a site plan. Within that site plan, we have some information here that will have you call out ICV valves, utilities, above ground utilities, site analysis, no dimensions on it, and you'll include the SWOT analysis on that as well. And then sheet number 3 will be the landscape plan, the actual landscape, how you are going to actually, where the plants are going to go to call out the plants, all the information on how you want that site to look. Sheet 4 will be the irrigation plan. We haven't talked about irrigation yet. That's about 2 weeks covering the irrigation plan. Sheet number 5 will be a detailed sheet that's going to have 16 separate viewports on that. And the details that will be included will be planting detail, construction detail, and irrigation details within that. And we will talk more about detailed drawings and what those entail in the weeks to come. Sheet number 6, a material cost, which will include, the sheet number 6 is plant list, material costs, and code requirements, and also total project cost. So there's a breakdown here of that information, and those will be in table format and placed on there, except for the legal portion that will be, go ahead and use multiple line text function in AutoCAD. And we'll talk more about legal requirements probably on week number 5. Week number 5 or week number 6. So that is the requirements for the final project. Let me give you a quick glimpse at the area that we're talking about. So again, this is the South Campus Rotunda area. You can find that easily. It's located next to, if you've ever been on that campus, it's located next to the library. This is the library here. It does not call the library out. I think it says level number 1 or something like that. Electronics building is right over here. Our drafting building is just adjacent, probably about in this location over here as well. So we're going to be using this area, and we also will be using the area without the building. The building, like I said, has been demolished. This is now an open area. I believe they did extend these sidewalks so they would meet in a common area across here. They may have put an additional one in here, maybe an additional one in here, extending this out. So go ahead, and we're going to just focus on as what's there right now, everything, and starting, and that will be on the next slide here. Let me get to it. Here I've outlined, and this is all attached in packet 3 as well. I've outlined our scope of interest. And basically from the outer perimeter of that outer sidewalk circle, that will be what we will be, our concentration will be within that. So this entire area will be landscaped by you and irrigation design, detail sheets, etc. for the final project. So this Rotunda garden is what we're going to call that. Oh, and here, okay, so on this shot here, I guess the other one was a little closer. So that's actually science. Okay, over here is the library. and business building is here. I don't know if you can orient yourself if you've ever been to that campus. Electronics, like I was said, was here. And here's the tip of our building right here, the STEC building for drafting, machining, and welding over there. So hopefully you can identify this. If you walked on campus now, which we can't get on campus, so that's going to be another challenge. But if you can get on campus, this would no longer be there. This used to be an open area. And what I've seen, the trees, a lot of the trees are still remaining. All right, and I do have some additional photos and some different additional information about that site since we can't get on there. I'll have some additional photos attached next week. All right, so that gives you an introduction to the final project, a little bit of the scope of it, the scope of interest, and how we're going to proceed with the 6 sheets through there. And so it's your responsibility to start developing these 6 sheets. There will be periodic checks on them that I'll ask for, maybe sending in, how's your site plan looking, or how's your irrigation plan looking, and I'll have that as one of the assignments. We'll not have an entire package assignment for the final project, and that's what you will be turning in on the 16th. That's what you'll be turning in on the 16th. All right, is it a complete package? Again, 1 DWG and 1 PDF of the 6 sheets. So hopefully that was helpful. We'll talk more about it next week and generate some more questions from that. If you have any questions, please jot them down. You can email me if you want, but you might want to save them for open discussion on Monday. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. All right. Don't see any questions pop up on that. I'm sure it's intimidating. Why is that?
Professor Taft, this is Brandy, the captioner. Can you assign me so that I can put the captions in?
I sure will. I guess every time I turn something off or stop the recording, it messes up. So I will take care of that.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the reminder. You're welcome.
All right. So the reason it's slightly intimidating is because I come from the DCCD program, and it was more mechanical, even though they tried to put more architectural stuff in there. And this is my first final project ever, so it is a lot larger scale than I've ever done.
Okay. Well, let me kind of throw it back towards you, James. Based on your front yard information that we've covered so far, can you see yourself applying that? And this goes for everybody, hopefully. You can see yourself applying that information we've covered so far onto that site?
Yes, I definitely believe I can do it. It's just the number of items that are needed for the whole final project is a little intimidating, but I'm just gonna break it down into pieces.
Okay, and you're talking about number of items like the 6 sheets?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and we'll get more in detail. I'm not going to just fling it at you and say, here you go. The recap that I gave you there is it gives you a little more information, but we'll talk more in specifics about each sheet, what's going into that, and the mechanics of getting that in. So don't worry. I think you'll do fine. And we're starting on it early enough that, and I'm going to give you more drawing time to work on this as well, so you won't have a lot of time outside of class that you'll have to work on this.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Good question. Good statement.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? And Brandy, hopefully that's working for you. Yes. I did put.
Yes, everything's working. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Brittany, yes. D sheets. Yes, that was on there. And Larry says, Lab 1, snip of the rotunda area scale drawing. We're going to go over the assignments in just a second, Larry. So James McGinn was laughing, probably something I said. I'm not sure what that was about. Brittany, I got your answer. Iman says the project will be circular, not between other buildings. Just in the scope of area. Yes, it's going to be more oval shape, Iman, just inside the sidewalk areas that I showed you. Brittany says, cool, okay. Larry says, okay. James, yes, about throwing it at us. Okay, yeah, no, I won't just, this is just an introduction, so don't panic. James McGinn says, is laughing at just throwing it at you. No, I won't do that. So, all right, good comments and good questions. And this is just, day one introduction, and I'm feeling a little panicky going on here. Not me, but I feel like you guys are like, oh shoot, here we go. But you guys will have the information you need, so don't worry about that. And you will have the time too, because we'll start laying out a schedule on this. James Meek says newer territory for me, but challenge accepted. All right, James Meek, good to hear. Challenge accepted. I love hearing that. James, again, I remember you saying panic now, not later. That was week 1. You were supposed to panic. Yeah, don't panic. You'll do fine. Larry says, I have faith you won't overload us. Not overload, but I might push it a little bit. Edgar's like, oh, doesn't sound too good, Edgar. Is that like, oh no, type thing? It's all right, Edgar, everybody else. I feel, on the final project, yes, you might have to spend some extra time out of class, but I'll try to make more and more time in class for this and to stop talking so much. You guys are probably laughing at that. Please stop talking so much. James Meek says, I expect to be overloaded, but not beyond our limits. Right. There you go. Good statement. You will be, I'll say, I don't want to say overloaded, but your load will be pushed to your maximum capacity, not beyond your abilities. And I know we have a lot of great abilities in each and every one of you. So I have faith in every one of you. How's that coming across? Probably really good on the recording. Yeah, that's how you grow. Yeah, you gotta push it just a little bit, because if you don't, you're not going to grow. That's every part of life. If you're not challenged, and I told you about the example about the skier. Did I tell you about the example of the skier when I was skiing one time? Skier hot dogging it down the hill. I tell you about that. I don't want to repeat my stories. I had a Bible study. I have a Bible study on every other Saturday, and I use that as an example. I don't know if I used it in here as class as far as growing. Nobody's commenting, so you probably can't remember. Maybe it was a bad example. Don't remember, James McGinn says. Okay, so the skiers, I was in a ski lift line. This is many years ago when I snow skied. This is before they had, really date myself, before they had snowboards. Yeah, they even invented it, before they even invented snowboards. All right, so I'm standing in the ski lift line, and this guy is, you can see the hill in front of us, and this guy is just hot dogging between the trees, just blowing powder, just coming through there. Comes up to the front of the line and just almost sprays everybody in line. He's just hot dogging. He thinks he's really hot, which he is a good skier, believe me. And he probably had a all year pass, so he can go right to the front of the line, etc. So he gets in front of the line, and just a few people in front of me. Just thought of something. On snow skis, you practice social distance in line. You don't know about snow skiing, you won't get that. Anyway, so he's the skier. James McGinn's laughing. Okay, thanks. So the snow skier, or the guy that came down the hill, he's talking to the lift operator, and he's looking at him, and snow skier says, a hot skier says, "Man, I haven't fallen all day." And the lift operator looks at him and goes, "Well, you must not be learning then." And that's my example. You got to be pushed to where you fall. So when I fell off my bike the other week, a couple weeks ago, I guess I was learning, right? Don't take the corner so fast. All right. So back to final project. Thanks, James McGinn says, good example. So I appreciate that. So always, if I can touch one person out of 15 or 16 people, I'm feeling good for the day. All right. All right, so we'll go ahead. If there's no other comments on the final project, no more panicking right now, we'll go ahead and look at what the week ahead is going to have for us. Let's see if this is the right video. I hope it is. All right, this will be a recap for the... Yeah, that's it. I was just checking. All right, this will be... Just checking. All right, let me get this set up. And we'll look at this one. It's 4 minutes long. And then we'll take questions and go into lab time. Let's see, let me stop all this other stuff. All right, I'm going to start this, so go ahead and put in the chat box if you're having any problems hearing it or seeing it. All right, this will be a recap for the week ahead of us. What is in store as far as assignments. This week we'll have projects as usual, but we're also introducing the final project. And week number 3. All right, the first thing we want to take a look at is we do have we have 3 PowerPoint presentations. There will be a 4th. I haven't completed number 10 yet, so that's right at the top up there. And we also have attachments for the final project, which includes the scope of the Rotunda. TCC South Campus had a building called the Rotunda. It was demolished in summer of 2020, this last summer, and now it's an open area, and we're going to use that for our landscape final project, the final project for landscape grafting. We have some information attached there as well, and then we also have a plant list that is attached here. It's a suggested plant list. We'll talk more about it, but it's just a suggestion. These are some of the plants that we use at TCC South Campus that are, of course, drought tolerant, and it fits into their budget as well. So just a suggested list. You can use this to get started on the final project, and you also can use this, any of these plants or suggestions of these plants for your front yard project. All right, so we'll be looking at the final project. I'll have a video for that for you as well to kind of just recap, get you started on the final project on a little more detail. Just kind of an overview, and we'll talk more in detail on Monday. Assignment 1 is to start the final project, TCC South Campus Rotunda Garden, we're going to call that. And it's going to be a snip process, just like you used on the front yard project last week. So you'll use the snip tool again on that. Go ahead and start researching plants for that area for the South Campus Rotunda Garden. And you also continue research for your front. You can also take this here. And then start reading chapter 5. And chapter 5 will be for Monday and Tuesday. Please work on chapter 5. And then next assignment number 2 for your front yard landscape project. submit a D sheet showing the site amenities. We will be talking about site amenities on Tuesday and talking about what they are, and then you'll be showing those on your front yard landscape project. And then again, you're continue doing research and continue reading in the textbook for chapter number 5 for presentation plans. And assignment 3, design your proposed landscape site plan for your front yard. The site plan will include these items listed in here, and we'll talk more in detail about plan development on Tuesday as well. And then I can see a mistake in here, so I didn't have, for some reason, lab 3 didn't pop up in here. So that will be, I'll get lab 3 in there, and that will be Wednesday for lab assignment 3, lab 3 assignment 3. And then lab number 4, we will not have any assigned lab 4. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday we'll have the assignments here. Again, all the attachments are here. The only thing that's not here is for the PowerPoint for number 10, and I'll have that by Wednesday. All right, and I think that wraps that up. They're just giving you a look ahead of what's ahead, and we'll be getting more details on Monday. All right, if you have any questions from this information, please let me know, and we will be answering most of those questions on Monday that you have with the project of week 3, back at 3. All right, I'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. All right, so hopefully that was informative. Larry, going all the way back to your question, I think you had a question about snip. So yes, you will be snipping that. You will be scaling that as well. And get out of this here. And close these couple out. And Jesse says, what measurement will we use to scale the drawing? Excellent question. So what I just did while we were on that video call, and I'm waiting for that information, I'm getting verification on a width of a sidewalk. So let me pull that back up. Okay, beat you to it. All right. Yeah, it's gotta be quick to the chat, right? Yeah, that was one piece of information I'm pretty sure of, but I just want to make sure nothing changed or and my memory is good. So don't laugh at that. I know you guys are laughing at the memory part. I know what it was from past projects. Now, let's see here. I'll get this pulled back up while I'm waiting for the text verification. And what I'm going to do is, I guess this would be good enough. So what I'm anticipating is a measurement on the width of this sidewalk. Goes up. Width of this sidewalk right in this area here. And it's going to verify it in a couple places. So that's going to be our best measurement to do. One, if he doesn't come through in the next few minutes, one that I know of, and I don't have it on here, but if I went to Google Maps, you can tell I'm stalling, right? Yeah, James says it should be pretty uniform except for a few places. I just want to make sure that, yeah, you're right, James, but I want to make sure that my memory is correct on it and not throw you guys completely off. What I'm doing right now is just I'm pulling up that South Campus, and I'll show you a second place. Yeah, I think, yeah, it was between 15 and 18. Yeah, I do have somebody going out there and measuring it. In fact, Iman said about 18. Yeah, I think you're pretty close, Iman. Pretty there, pretty close on that. And let me just show you one alternative. And I'll stop sharing this and share this other. Why doesn't it come up? Come on. Let's see, application. Here we go. So as we look at this satellite image, here's our study area right here. And if he doesn't get back to me in the next few minutes, I know this. I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you guys see my pointer? All right. My cursor? Okay. This wall right here is 96 feet. Right here. And so what you could do is snip. You'd have to probably do 2 snips, I guess. I'm not sure. Because what would happen if you snip out this wide for this building, then this is going to be pretty small to work with. And he still hasn't gotten back to me. So let me go into answering questions about the assignments, and then hopefully he will get back to me in the next few minutes to verify that we either will go with the 96 feet or I thought it was around 15, but it may be 18, Iman. So we can go with that number if he doesn't get back in the next few minutes. Let's see here. There we go. And packet 2, we are done with packet 3. So assignments, we'll talk about assignment 1, start the final project, Rotunda Garden. SNP. Yeah, you know what, James, I remember that my son told me that. Yeah, you don't know how accurate that is. I don't either. I haven't done a comparison on that. That's why I'd rather get a hard number to do our scaling by. So my son told me about that, and I haven't had a chance to experiment on that to see how accurate that is. Okay, so on assignment 1, the final project, PCC Rotunda, so you're going to snip that, you're going to scale it, include the adjacent sidewalks that we talked about. So that's the outer perimeter sidewalks that we talked about. And you're going to outline all the features, so that's all the existing sidewalks, except for the Rotunda building, and submit that. And it's going to be a scaled drawing. So you're going to scale the don't forget, you're going to scale the map, the SNP, and then you're going to scale it in the D sheet as well. So use the D sheet and scale that, fill all the information out, and that will be the D sheet for assignment 1. So you can see on assignment 2, we go back to your landscape project. All right. So when you're doing these submissions, watch which project you're on. Assignment 3 is back to the front yard project. We're going to be talking about site planning, what's involved in that. And then assignment 4, there's no assignment. Don't cry on that. I think you'll have enough to keep you busy through the week with the new final project assignment. So does somebody want to tell me what's the first thing you do when you are addressing and getting ready to work on the final project? What's the first thing you do in CAD? Larry, go ahead.
Open up your master title blocks.
Exactly right. And then Edgar follows up with save it. So he's referring to that. Yeah, so both of you are correct. So open your master title block and then save it. What are you going to save it as? Save as final project, right, Edgar and Iman. So save it as final project, put your initials in it or your name, first name, last name, whatever, just get some information in there and you're good to go. What's the next thing you're going to do? SNP, yes, that's true. Set up the D sheets, Edgar. Right. Iman says SNP. Yes, that's one thing, but Iman, you're jumping ahead just a little bit. The next thing you're going to do is set up the D sheet. So if you think back now to the final project, the recap that we had on it, the final project said, how many D sheets will that be? 6, right, Iman, right, Zach, right, 6 D sheets. So go ahead and set up 6 D sheets. And fill out the title blocks as much as you can on it with the information you have. You won't be able to fill out scaling. You should be able to fill out the sheet name and all that information. Then you can put in the sheet number 1 of 6, 2 of 6, 3 of 6, etc. Yeah, there you go. Get that set up, your D sheets, and then yes, back to Iman's statement earlier. Yeah, then you can go ahead and snip and put it into model space. Okay, so he still hasn't gotten back to me. And going back to James Meek says, so Google Maps pretty close, given a foot or two. Yeah. And that, James, that is good. I'd like to be closer than a foot or two. But with the flip side of that, if we look back on our, I'm going to call him in a second and say, hey, where's that information? Unless he texted, I didn't see it come across. Nope, he hasn't texted yet. So, let me go back, stop sharing this, and go back to the satellite image. All right, so when you're zooming in on this, I don't think I can zoom in on there, but when you zoom in, you know, so exactly where's that 6 foot, or that, I'm sorry, not 6 foot, or 18 feet start and end, because you only can zoom in so close on this, and you can see we're getting some ghosting going on in this image anyway. Let me look over in the satellite image that I have pulled up. And let me zoom in on that a little bit. And yeah, we're getting some ghosting image even when I zoom in on that as well. So, so maybe, you know, even if we get more exact as far as the dimension, when we actually try to do the width on it, it still maybe be off by, I'll say, a foot, maybe 2 feet at max. So it's going to be okay for landscaping. That's not going to be a problem. And let me just see where he's at on it. Lab 1, Larry says lab 1, sidewalk. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. 15. Okay. That's what I was guessing. Okay. Perfect. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Bye. That's that. My memory served me right. It is 15 feet. So what he measured, and okay, I'll go to this here. So what he measured in a couple spots. So this right here, let me get a different color. This right here measured 15, and he measured right up here 15 as well. So you'll draw a line 15 feet wide, a perpendicular line across the sidewalk, and use that for scaling. Larry says, so lab 1, sidewalks and trees. So Larry, yes, in the assignment it said all existing. So everything existing, sidewalks and trees, yes. James McGinn says, scaled it out, and it says 11 feet, 10 inches. So yeah, we're going to go with 15 because that's what I remember from other projects, and we just got a verification from Travis, who is the Innovation Lab manager. Well, yeah, Edgar, my line is not 15 feet. That's just the area where he measured, the blue line or the red lines. He took two measurements for everybody. Took a measurement here and here. So you'll need to draw a line in CAD 15 feet going across that, and that will be where you scale it at. So remember I said that you can draw two lines. You can draw an actual line that's 15 feet, and then you can draw a line that's right on that sidewalk, and you can do alignment with those two lines. As long as they're going the diagonal direction, the same direction, you'll be fine. Vicker says okay. All right, so that's assignment 1. James, I measured a little bit higher than the line based off the top of the CAD building being 96 feet. Okay. Yeah, and so yeah, let's just go with that at 15 feet. And so that way we're all on the same page. And with landscaping, if we're going to be off about a foot, that's going to be okay. All right. So keep the questions coming. I know there are probably some more out there. Larry, I hopefully answered your question. I think we got the scaling down with Edgar's name here. We got that 11 feet, but we'll go with 15. So
Lab 1 is basically.
what's that, Larry?
Oh, you can still hear me?
Yep.
Lab 1 is basically lab 1 and 2 from last week. Or
Not sure about that. Basically, lab and one. Two different areas. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, okay.
That confused me. Let's see. So lab 1 from last week was map, site map, front yard project, satellite image on, and snippet. Yes, and so, and then lab 3 is a snip. So basically, well, yes. So you're right, Larry, on that. Yes, basically. So just read the directions for the packet that we're in. That I will feel a lot better if you read that and come up with questions from that. You do a comparison, I have to go back and forth. I may have put a little bit slight different information, but basically, yes, Larry, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah, and Edgar says kinda. Yeah, exactly. Good word, Edgar. Yeah, kinda. So I don't want to say 100% sure because then it's like it causes chaos in the world. We have enough chaos going in the world right now. So, but just look at assignment 1, packet 3, assignment 1, and look at the details on that and get to. All right. Any other questions, comments, statements? Anything? Because that will conclude the lecture for today. James Smith, go ahead.
Okay, so the layouts, do you want a title on the layouts besides just Arc D on there? Because right now it's 6 Arc Ds, and I was thinking that would be a little confusing if you're looking through those. Do you want like assignment 1 or the PK stuff for the?
Yes, so good question. So what I stated earlier was a little bit aggressive. So what you can do, how many D sheets do we have on this final project that is due this week? We have assignment
6.
1, and assignment 2 is, let's see, assignment 2, that's your front yard is assignment 2. Assignment 3 is your front yard. We only have 1 D sheet that's due this week. So, James, great question, because I did jump a little bit ahead, and that might have what confused everybody, not only you, or made the question. But when I said do a save as final project, final project, initials in there, etc., then I said to make 6 D sheets. Well, if you send in 6 D sheets with one DWG and make 6 PDFs, 5 of them are going to be blank, right? So with that said, just go ahead and hold off on making the 6 sheets, but delete the 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17 after you do the save as, and then you'll have the 1 D sheet, but then you can add those sheets as required by the assignment. How did I do?
That's good.
Okay. Thanks, James, for asking that. That was my mistake, jumping a little too far ahead. James McGinn says you want us to align the map with 15 feet at the blue line. Well, James, what I'm saying with the blue line or the red line, let me just clear this off. And I'll go ahead and draw this again with the red line. Here is the areas that he took measurements. So that, yes, that area doesn't have to be exactly, but within those areas, that's where he took the measurements. So kind of yes on yours, James, but I don't want somebody to think that, use that blue line and align it to that. You have to draw your own line. Well, but it does by the satellite image. It doesn't by actually on the ground. So the area, if you zoom in, let me show you on here, because there's some ghosting, what they call ghosting is going on from the satellite image. And let me share that. Yeah, just use the top of the sidewalk. That's perfect. Yeah. So what's happening here is you're getting some ghosting going over that. But look right here. You don't have as much ghosting. You have a pretty defined line there. And then right up here where you took that second one, it's pretty defined right there. You don't have a lot of ghosting going on. Now, some of that ghosting may be some gravel that they had put down for drainage, which leads me to another discussion that I'm going to, I guess, can wait. Let's see. I need to tell you right now, it's for future. But, okay, so that's where you aligned it at. Okay, is the top quadrant, James McGinn? Okay, so yeah, I would probably I would choose either right in here, you have a pretty clear image, or right right in here, sorta. I mean, I think this is probably your best shot right up in here. All right. Before I move on to another topic, kind of another topic with the same project, I'll just wait a second, see if there's anything else. So is assignment 1 clear as mud? Has 3D sheets? All the same for the same assignment? No, yeah. So remember what I said earlier. Yeah, in total, but remember what I said earlier. You may have 2 different projects in the same week. So if you do, you want to separate that. It's going to be a PDF for your front, a DWG PDF for your front yard, PDF and DWG for your rotunda project. That will be 2 files you're sending in. You don't want to combine the 2 files. That was the idea. It's just whatever file project you have on, you name it that, and that's where you do the work and the PDFing from. You keep the projects separate. James, did I answer that? Okay, that makes more sense. All right, hopefully I cleared it up for everybody else. Thanks, James, for having me clarify that. Anything else? Yes. Be careful on that because James says that we'll have two PDFs and I assume that means 2 DWGs. So for every DWG, you'll have 1 PDF. In this case, on assignment packet 3, you have 2 separate assignments. So one assignment is for the rotunda. That's going to be 1 DWG with 1 PDF. Backyard is going to be 1 DWG for 1 PDF. So it will be 2, yes. Yeah, for this week only. It may change next week. James says for this week only, or for this assignment only. This week you'll have 2 separate DWGs. Within those, they will have a PDF each. Oh man, confusion. You're not in class. All right, James, did I clarify more or add more mud to the already muddy water? James, me.
That's good.
Okay, thanks, James. All right. So with that said, I want to show you one other thing. And this will come up later, but I want to point it out now because I had it on my notes. All right. So with this satellite image, we're going to be talking about drainage here in this project, in this Rotunda Garden project. Within that, you're going like, well, how the heck can we tell drainage? So I'm going to give you a little bit of information now. We'll repeat it later, but I wanted to pull it up now just so you would have that. If you look just to the north area of this project, let me go ahead. I guess I can't draw. So right here is a main drain, storm drain area. Right here. That's what that concrete, it's actually a raised concrete area. It's almost like a little concrete bench, but underneath it is an inlet. All the way around is an inlet. So it gets water from all these areas draining into here. And that is where the water on this portion is supposed to drain to. Notice I use the word supposed to. We have a drainage issue because right here, when it rains heavily, this area floods on the sidewalk. I'm giving you that information now. If you want to make note on it, we'll talk about that later on. But we're going to have some drainage issues here that we're going to have to somehow address in some way. Whether we and we have some what they call area drains, and I'll get more into that. The ones that you might be familiar with are round. These are actually rectangular, probably about 18 inches long. They have grates. There's plastic grates on top. It's green, just like the area drains you might be familiar with. But they're rectangular in shape, probably about 3.5, 4 inches wide, 16, 18 inches long. And they have one right in this area here. It's supposed to take care of this, and this still can flood, not as bad as this area. And they have another one that I believe is located right in here that doesn't seem to work well enough. So just to give you a heads up, this area here is supposed to drain this way. Oh, my screen just went blank, so I can't talk anymore. Give me 1 second, I'm sure it will come back. I'm sure you still can see it. So we'll talk about this drainage stuff. Yes, it says, oh, we're sorry, but an error has occurred. Please reload the page. Thanks a lot. Anyway, I know you still can see it, but I can't. So we'll talk more about this drainage later on, but I just want to give you a heads up. That big concrete deal that you see is a main drain. So just take that into consideration. You do not have to have it on your SNP map. But for reference, once you get that drawing scaled, you may want to make another SNP map. It's not for submission, just for your information. Scale that other one, but widen out your view so you have that drain area and identified so you can know about which way the water goes for about 1/3 of that project. That's just something coming up. Now, hopefully I didn't add confusion, but I wanted to bring that up today because we will be talking about it more in the future. All right, so that concludes, if there's no other questions, I'm not trying to run away. But that concludes the second lecture today. And I don't know why it doesn't go back to that. But that concludes that, and I will be here till 3:15 to answer any additional questions. I'll be working on your emails, and whether it's on this first week's assignments or it's on final project, I can answer questions on that, or if it's on a CAD function, of course, on something like that as well. It looks like you guys have a really good handle on CAD. I don't think there's any problems with that. So we will move ahead. So I don't see any other questions coming through in chat. And James McGinn says, yeah, it was bad. He's talking about that flooded area. Yeah, it gets probably, if you don't have boots on, you're going to get wet. Zach, see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Sounds good. If I don't talk to you guys in the next half hour, have a great afternoon. And if I do, I will be here till 3:15. And I'll go ahead and stop the recording now. Yeah, Larry, go ahead before I stop the recording.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The recording part. So this week in packet 3, we have one drawing file, one PDF, and that's of the rotunda we're talking about.
Right.
And then we have one drawing file and one PDF, which is going to have 2 or 3 in there, of the front yard.
Correct.
So when we turn it all in on Monday or before, we'll have 4 files to send you.
Yes, correct. Yes, you're correct.
Okay. All right.
You want to name those 4 files just for anybody?
One drawing of the. I'm not really.
One DWG.
Yeah, one DWG of the rotunda, and then one PDF of the rotunda,
Correct.
and then one drawing file. I looked at the rest of it. One drawing file of the front yard landscape.
One DWG of the front landscape, right?
Yeah. And then one PDF, which will have 2 or 3, I think, D sheets on it.
Right.
Of the front yard.
Very good. You said it perfectly. Better than I did. You did a good job.
Good, thanks.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll go ahead and stop that. I want to keep the recording going in case anybody else wants a clarification on that. So I'll stop the recording now.